I want to just go back to just your computer science days, because I think that's an important question. Or if you are 18 and you are just got enrolled as a Stanford freshman, go to study computer science, and the curriculum is what it was 8 years ago, does it still make sense?
No. Even what the curriculum is today doesn't make sense. I don't think anybody should study computer science necessarily for the degree. The most important thing that you need to learn is really two skills. The first skill is first principles thinking.
Mhm.
The second skill is how to take a complex problem and break it into simple problems, because simple problems are simple solutions. And now the question is, how do you learn these two skills? Usually engineering is a degree that teaches you that. But most people, when they approach engineering in college, they treat it more like solving problems and equations and studying for your midterms. And not really going to a root of what engineering is really trying to teach you. Is just like, now, car is a complicated machine, but hey, it's just built with a few parts that move like this and the whole thing runs together. And those are the two skills I would look to develop. But the thing is, there's no class that teaches you that. It is how you approach college that teaches you that. And this is what I did then. This is what I told my brother to do as well, is when you're taking a specific class, make sure you go in with a very specific intention about what you're trying to get out of this class and why, which may or may not have anything to do with what the class is trying to teach you. But the things you can get out are very varied. And the two skills that I said, to learn that, I'm not convinced that you need to go to college. I think people should go to school and college primarily because it gives you high EQ and it builds your social skills, which some friends of mine who did not go to school or college lack. And I was like, okay, that's not good. That's not good. It's good to be around people your age for a while. But in terms of the skills, I think most places are not setting up people for success.
Do you think the college education as we know it is going to change profoundly in the coming years?
It has to. Like, I feel so bad about all the people coming out right now, because when they entered college with their computer science degrees, they had this like massive grand vision of what the world is going to look like. And 4 years later, their job doesn't exist anymore.
Do you hire freshers?
We hire freshers who have those two skills. So there's one guy who actually started today. He has his graduation in a week. And kid is extremely brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Not in terms of having just high IQ, but also very high EQ. And so he's coming in to automate the entire post-sales function for us, because he spikes on hospitality and product thinking, and he can do some engineering. He's not an engineer he didn't even do a computer science degree. He's a PM in his last few internships. But I was like, if you understand the experience that we want to deliver to customers, and you can give a Ritz-Carlton or Taj level experience to them, and you're decently familiar with Claude Code, like, great, I have a job for you.
Interesting. So I'll be very curious to see how colleges adapt and if they can adapt at AI speed, because I assume most colleges think in, I don't know, decades or 4-year degrees and so on. Those are time frames, but the pace of change that we are witnessing is literally measured in days and weeks. How does your own work style is changing with AI? How much of is AI an enabler for you? You talked about this AI custom chief of staff that you built, but what are all the other AI tools? How does Tanay as a professional augmented with AI looks like today?
That's a good question. One big thing that I do is now basically the latest Claude models are good enough to be a sparring partner. So whenever I'm starting to learn about a new phase or like solve a key problem, I just talk to it. And so usually starts off with like giving a 2-minute long like voice dump of my thinking, my goals, what I've learned so far.
You have your Claude also talks back to you in English, or you read?
I read. Reading is so much faster. So I speak to it and consume content back. And this is really helpful. And so if you open my Claude, like you'll see just long things like, how do I think about this specific candidate? I'm thinking about this role. Like, how do I think about getting this job description here? I want to communicate this to my team. Okay, what's the best way to do that? And these are all high leverage things.
Yeah.
And the thing I realized with Claude is not just we give it a lot of context, but very specifically describe the outcome that I want. The outcome that I want is I want this person to go away remembering X, Y, Z. I want them to feel this way after this. And this is the next thing that I want them to intuitively do. Now help me do that. I realized that kind of one, having that level of clarity by myself makes me be a better judge of if the output is good or not. And then it also helps the AI model just help me a lot more. So this is again a thing that the difference here in what I see average, like the average person do is you treat it as like, hey, like how do I hire an engineer? And you just do that. It's like, no, you need to spend a good amount of time thinking by yourself. Then when you're like, okay, I've like thought a good amount, then you're like, okay, now you dump it in, you get feedback, then you think more, and then you chat more. And so what people should not really miss out on is the actual thinking step you need to do, even while you're talking to AI and it's doing some more thinking for you, because you need to think of it as a sparring partner and not something you delegate stuff to.
You mentioned earlier you're doing up to 20 meetings a day. How much thinking time do you get?
Okay. So this is bad. I would not recommend this. I have about 9 hours of meetings a day. Then I spend about 4 hours with my family, so fiance, parents. Then I spend 4 hours after that working at night. And then I sleep for about 6 hours after that. So my 4 hours at night is my deep work.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You are young enough to get away with 6 hours of sleep, but sooner or later you have to bring it to 7, 8.
I'm enjoying my late 20s while I can.
Just, I also missed asking you is, I imagine no one is hand coding here. What happens to programming? Does anyone need to learn programming anymore?
So programming again, for me, it's always programming as being an art that teaches me how to think. Because programming is all about like, hey, I want to build this really complex application. How do I break it out into bite-sized chunks so I can actually do it? So programming to me was one of the best ways to learn that skill. At Whisper today, apart from like when some people are working deep on archaic parts of the code base, most people are not writing code by hand. So I would say 99.9% of code is AI generated. That was shocking for me because I spent 18 years learning how to code. There was probably some time when I wrote more code than I spoke words. And I don't feel bad anymore because guess what? Because I know how the underlying system works, my prompts to Claude are very different, which means when I want to build something, it takes me 4 to 5x less time than anybody else because I know the very specific things I wanted to change in specific areas and how I wanted to structure things. Which again goes to the point that we were talking about earlier. You get to the end result a lot faster.
Very similar, my experience. I programmed for almost 10 years and product manager for another, 20 years. I think as an entrepreneur, mostly I've been product manager. And now with this AI coding, I'm able to build things so fast. I'm incredible. I keep hoping for a lot of people around me to build at the same speed, but because they lack that training as a programmer and training as a product manager, it's not very easy to translate a dream into this, bite-sized chunk, which are all kind of stitched together in a particular manner. What needs to talk to what and so on. So I think it's, I feel very lucky to have had that training, and it's very liberating. I mentioned you said Claude Code few times. My own AI workflows in last 12 months have shifted from nearly 100% GPT, nearly 100% Claude Code. This is Claude in general, and Claude coding is got a bit of an advantage going for itself, I guess, for Anthropic as a model company.
I think they've done a fantastic job. And like Anthropic did one thing really well, which is they said, hey, we're going to build the best reasoning model and we're going to build the best coding model. They both go hand in hand. And we're going to be the best company at that. They don't have video generation. They don't have audio generation. They have a really shitty voice model. But they don't care. They don't care at all because they want to nail these two things. And this is where I would say what OpenAI did caused their own issues where they try to do every single thing on the planet.
Right here, super app is coming.
Yeah. And while they were doing that, they missed the core thing that they started off being really good at. And this is now what you see. They also realized it. And they called a big kind of red alert within the company. They killed Sora. They moved a lot more resources back into coding. They're really pushing Codex. They're building a strong team for that. They're really pushing for enterprise. And this is a clear reminder to everybody that you could be the smallest company or the hottest company in the world, but focus is one thing. If you lose, you still die.